Hello, everyone, and welcome to our live watch long show on Football Talk Podcast. My name is Ozzie, and I'm your host for today. The game has been delayed by 15 minutes, which is why we've started this live stream late today as well. But the game is set to kick off in about 2 3 minutes. So, what we'll do in the meantime, we will review the lineups and see who is starting today. So, in regards to the home team, you've got Leno in goal, you've got Cuenca, Anderson, and Diop in the back line. So, they're playing with a back three, which is a slight surprise, but at the same time, it shouldn't be because a lot of teams have been playing with a back three slash back five, however you want to phrase it. So shouldn't be too much of a surprise, but this is not a formation that Fulham are renowned to play. So we're interested to see how they set up tactically. And then in your double pivot, you've got Kearney, Lukic, you've got Castagna and Robinson providing the width on the flanks. And then you've got Harry Wilson on the right, Smith Rowe on the left, and Raul Jimenez starting up top. Now, in regards to Liverpool, you've got Allison in goal, and you've got Kirkes, Van Dijk, Konate, and Conor Bradley, who starts at right back today. You've got Curtis Jones and Gravenberg to complete the double pivot. Gravenberg makes the start despite the comments made from Arsenal that he needs to be managed better or managed carefully. Yeah. And McAllister finds his way back into the starting lineup, playing that number 10 role. Light on the right hand side, and Cody Gakpo plays up top as a striker. That is definitely a surprise. I can also see that Ekitike is not on the bench. Maybe he's picked up an injury that I wasn't aware of. Yeah, interesting to see that Gakpo has been given the start up top. And just to present the bench for you guys, we've got Joe Gomez, Chiesa, Philly, Robertson, Woodman, Frimpong, Leone, Calvin Ramsey, and Rio Ngamoa on the bench as well. So plenty of quality options. So hopefully Liverpool can get the better end of the score before utilizing the substitutes. But at least we know we have a few players that can come on and make the difference. So yeah, not too long to go. The players are currently in a huddle, giving their final words before they begin the game. So let's begin the watch on. Let me present the scoreline or scoreboard, I should say, and then we can take it from there. I'm just going to go through some of the comments here from Ozan. Big up Ozan as always. He says, "What's going on, Ozzy? All good, thank you, Ozan. I hope you're doing well." He said, "Is it a weather delay due to winds?" I'm not entirely sure. I came on late and I saw the reporter mentioning it, but I didn't look into it too much. So might be the weather conditions. I'm not entirely sure, but hopefully there isn't any issues with regards to people arriving at the stadium or anything like that. Maybe there was some sort of traffic involved. I have no idea, to be fair. So um but yeah, hopefully everyone's well, and there's been no issues. Um 15-minute delay is not end of the world, but hopefully everyone is safe and sound. And Ozzy also said Ozzy's favorite Argentinian midfielder of all time starts. Yeah, tell me about it. Yeah, definitely not, definitely not my all time. But if I had to pick an all time Argentinian midfielder, for me it would be Riquelme. Riquelme. I don't know if anyone's old enough to remember Riquelme, but I think he was a fantastic player for Argentina. So yeah, that would be my pick. Speaking of that, we don't say Messi. No, Messi, I don't classify as a midfielder. He's more of a number 10, more of an attacker. Of course, in his younger days, he started on the right wing, didn't he? So I see more in terms of the forward line. But in terms of midfield, even though Riquelme was a number 10, I would go for uh, that's the sort of player. That's a player that I would love watching play live. You don't really get those type of players in the modern game just because I feel like the number 10 role isn't utilized as much. And even if you had those kind of skill sets, you've been shoehorned to play either in a centre midfield role or on the wings. But yeah, he was an absolute baller. He said, "Bro, one Roman was a bad, bad man." Yeah, he was. He really, really was. Bro, remember Pablo Aimar? Pablo Aimar is a great shout. I remember him from his Valencia days. And I remember the game in particular when we faced Valencia and we got absolutely demolished. This is when Rafa Benitez was the Valencia manager, and then the following season he became Liverpool manager. But the way they played against us is probably one of the games where we were outclassed in every department. They were unbelievable. They really were. So yeah, um, very, very talented player. I give him a shout as well. Yeah, definitely in the mix. Um, Argentina have had some great midfielders over the years. So for me, yeah, uh, some may say Messi because I guess he's a number 10, but we all know for large parts in his career and more of his prime, he's played on the right wing, hasn't he? So, but yeah, Riquelme for me really sticks out. Pablo Aima is another one. I'm trying to think who else. There's quite a few, but I think in terms of high quality, it has to be Riquelme. Riquelme had everything. Just a shame he never played in the Premier League. And that would have been, that would have been great to see. I was gonna say Aussie's ball knowledge is undefeated, man. Why rate this channel? Be like yourself, Ozzie. Appreciate your kind words there. Yeah, yeah, obviously I'm a bit older, so for me it's just like those football, especially that era of football, the 90s and the early 2000s, that was like prime football for me. And it's an element of nostalgia as well. I'm sure people will agree to that. That when you think about players that you grew up watching, it means or it's valued a bit more. But I feel like in the 90s and the early 2000s, that's where you saw real quality players. And it's funny in those times you wouldn't really classify players as world class unless they were like you know the best. And when you're talking centre backs, if you said Maldini, that's someone world class. And if you're speaking about a striker, R9, if we're speaking about an attacking midfielder or attacking left winger, Ronaldinho, those are the names that you would come up with. But I feel like in this day and age, everyone brands those words quite loosely. And yeah, I'm not one of those that likes that, especially when people regard someone as world class or legendary. So yeah, as I said, would love for Verts to become a combination of Pablo Aimar and Riquelme one day. Aimar, I could see a bit if you had to choose between the two. Um, I see more Coutinho in Verts in terms of the way he moves, his build, and all that sort of stuff. But just say imagine, bro, that would be undefeated if we had Verts playing that level. But of course, Riquelme was, he was a big guy as well. Like he wasn't like a pushover as well. So, but in terms of the elegance of the play, I think Paulo Arma, that could be a comparison in terms of Verts' game. But yeah, great, great talent, especially in his Valencia days, amazing. And Riquelme, pretty much a Villarreal legend, isn't he? So, yeah, great, great talent for Argentina. Back to the game. Verts, I've seen has been active so far. Gakpo's just had a shot that's gone for a corner. So Boslai whips in a cross, cleared away by Fulham. Let me present the scoreboard for you guys. Keep track of the score. There you go. Looks like Jones is playing a bit more further up, and you've got McAllister dropping a bit deep. Smith Rowe on the attack, tries to find Castagna, but Perkins makes a clearance. I was gonna say, why did modern football kill the pure number 10 Aussie? Honestly, I think in terms of the modern game, it's become more about the system rather than individuality. So when we watched football in the 90s and in the early 2000s, those number 10s or those type of players were unbelievably technical and talented players where you wouldn't just shoehorn them in a position because if you played someone like a Raquelme or Aima, who are the two players we just mentioned, if you play them on a left wing, for example, you really lose that creativity from them. If you give them the freedom to play just behind the striker, they're able to roam around and be expressive and be the difference in the final third as well. But I feel like in this day and age, teams are built around playing systems, and with systems, you're trying to make sure you're not breakable. So you're not having a lot of players that have that freedom or that can roam around. It's pretty much you call your zone, and that's how it is. So because of that, you are eliminating a position that requires a player to be expressive and to have the freedom to roam around the pitch. And because of that, you're not really having that formation. That's why nowadays you got teams playing like Liverpool that play a 4-2-3-1, but the player that is more central that plays in the number 10 role, um, they don't normally play as far as a number 10 in terms of the traditional way. They play in my eyes, I refer it as more of an advanced number 8, where they're a bit more further up, but they're not quite second strikers either. But of course, it depends on the profile. If Verts was to play that role week in, week out, then he might be more closer to the striker. But if it's like a McAllister or even a Szoboszlai, then they are more regarded as advanced eights. But of course, on paper, they will be regarded as your number 10s in terms of the positional play or the position that they are occupying in the team. So yeah, it's down to systems. Of course, there's always pros and cons in terms of the current way of play from the 90s and all that sort of stuff. But I just felt like maybe this is nostalgia talking, but I just enjoyed football a lot more in the 90s. And I feel like there was so many quality players out there. Like, just for example, we were assessing potential striker options for Liverpool in the summer. There wasn't more than at least, what should I say, a maximum of 10 strikers. I think 10, I'm really stretching with 10. Maybe 5 strikers that I thought that were good enough to be signed by Liverpool. There's not a lot of proper number 10s, oh sorry, proper number 9s out there either. Even though the striker role is pretty much, still a demanding position. Like you can still do with a R9 or that type of striker. But those type of strikers don't come around often. And for me, yesterday we were doing a show and we spoke about the word generational. R9 is generational. That's the kind of players that I like to describe as generational, not 17-year-olds that are just coming through the ranks. And they can have very special players like Aria and Gamoa, but I wouldn't classify them as generational. Hold on, Gakpo, he's through on goal. Oh, that was an awful shot. That was a great ball from Curtis Jones. Good run from Gakpo. He's onside. Why did he? I don't know. I feel like he could have hit. Like he could have used his right foot and just gone a bit more direct, a bit more infield. Especially if that's not his stronger foot. But at first touch, took him away. Unfortunately, that's a poor effort. I'm not gonna lie, poor effort there. Well, I said, I missed the 90s, bro. Life was so much simpler. Yeah, yeah, it was, wasn't it? In terms of age, in terms of our childhoods and that sort of stuff. Yeah, it was of course a lot more simpler. But in terms of football terms, it was just so enjoyable. Like I remember watching World Cup '98, and you had teams like Morocco who weren't a team full of bona fide players or anything like that, but you had players like Mustafa Haji, Chipo as well, who played for Coventry. Especially Mustafa Haji, like he would. I remember him doing this trick where he would dribble and he literally get the ball in between his feet and then hop with the ball. Like that was his like party trick. And you don't really see that kind of skill and flair in this day and age. Everything's a bit more robotic. It's all about playing a straight and narrow way. And I miss that element of street football or playground football in the professional game because it's so enjoyable to watch. Um, and that's why I'm probably more reminiscent of those days now because quite frankly, my team, as in our team, Liverpool Football Club, are not playing anywhere near to those levels. So all we can do is reminisce, I guess, isn't it? Uh, I was gonna say, bro, Francesco Totti. Yeah, Totti was a baller. He was an absolute baller, and one of those rare players that stayed at one club as well. But yeah, he was fantastic, and he was a proper number 10 or a proper second striker. Like he could literally do everything, and he was someone not to mess with as well. Very aggressive, can definitely get involved in an attack and press from the front, shows real aggression, make it difficult for the opponent, especially the defensive midfielder of the opponent's team. He would definitely do that, but also his individual quality, scoring goals, something that he produced out of nothing, set pieces, penalties. He was very well known for doing the Panenka, like it was a routine goal for him. So yeah, he was an unbelievable talent as well. To be fair. I was gonna say, well, is he lucky he's not generational? You already know my thoughts. Despite what Bo, be up to Bo, thinks, I don't think he's generational. There aren't many people that are generational either. So I don't know. That term just gets used around too loosely, in my opinion. And it's just the modern fan now, isn't it? Where you feel like anyone that's got slightly above average s- skill set, you think they are generational. Which, yeah, that's what I try to be careful to when I use those kind of phrases. Even Rio and Gamoa, I think he's a very special talent. Generational, I feel like it's a bit strong to say, but if I'm calling him special talent, I guess that could be regarded as generational, isn't it? So because for me, it's not like where we had, and this is not disrespect, we had Kate Gordon that came through, and he was regarded to have great ability, great potential, and was regarded as someone that could really make a name for themselves. Like I never referred to him as generational or even a special talent just because I hadn't seen much of him, and I feel like he had to prove his noise or in terms of the reputation that he was getting before he joined the club. So it's very important to keep these young players grounded, and I think as fans we gotta keep our our opinions level-headed as well. Good. Fulham, Lukic to Anderson there, but Verts has the ball. Verts, Verts unable to get the ball past the player there. Honestly, bro, Ozzie, Gakpo just doesn't work centrally. I think I think it can work. It's just that he under Arne Slot, he's never played as a striker. He really hasn't. He's always played on the left wing. Under Jurgen Klopp, you'll remember he's played there as a false nine type of player, and I thought he did really well, especially the game against United, 7-0. Hold on. Oh, the plan's gone up. Great finish there from Harry Wilson, wasn't it? Real power right in the bottom corner. But let's have a look. Was he offside? He looks like he knew he was offside. Oh, I think he's on. I'm not gonna lie, guys. I think that's a goal. I think Fulham just taking the lead. That was a spectacular finish. I think that's a goal. I think he's on. I think he's on side to goal. Oh, damn, was he? Damn, he's on. Yeah, he looks on to me. Because you can just look at the cut of the grass. He's behind that line that Van Dijk is standing on. So for me, that's a goal. I think it's gonna be given. It's a goal. Yeah, he's onside. I mean, it was clearly onside. Oh, Fulham are 1-0 up. And I'll be honest with you, I don't think we actually started the game that badly. But these are the moments where you have to take your chances, and Gakpo had a chance, and for me, scuffed his shot there. But Wilson, of course, on his favourite foot, hit that with real power, real accuracy into that bottom corner. Great finish from the former Liverpool player. Oh, that's a free kick. As Anderson pushes Gakpo to the ground. What on earth was that chant? Can't really say it out loud, but yeah, weird chant there. Jones, I thought he was about to pull the trigger there. Alisson long ball up top. Going back. Finds Szoboszlai. Oh, Going back to McAllister. Nice pass from McAllister to Kirkes. Kirkes, no. That execution was all wrong. Needed to play a bit more on his sort of toe to do it, curl it around rather than squaring it. You know, you have to bend it a bit more there, bend it towards that 6 yard box. Went for the wrong execution there. Excuse me. Verts to Kanate. Poor pass by Soboslai. Gets onto the loose ball. Soboslai switches it over to Verts. Oh, slightly overplayed by Verts to Kirkes. Yeah, looks like Van Dijk was the one that kept him on side. All the other defenders were moving forward. Looks like a toe punt. Interesting technique there. Toe punt into the corner. Callister. Mm. We need to be more direct. We're just going with sideways passes and not really trying to create something. And we keep switching the play. It'll be on the right hand side, and then the player will kick it across goal to the left hand side. It's just volleyball stuff, really, isn't it? It's not football. We were just pinging from one side to the other. Capo should have flicked it to Jones. Swoboda has it. Swoboda to Kirkes. Poor cross from Kirkes again. Come on, Kirkes. Finding himself in good positions, but your execution in the final pass needs to be better. I'm getting tired from just watching the football already, honestly. I'm not tired in general. I'm literally not entertained right now. And Fulham on the counter right now. Jimenez gets past Konate, Gravenberch leaves a dirty tackle there on McAllister, but the ref seems to wave play on. Poor pass there from Swift Row. All I said, bloody hell, man, this Bamford was just haram ball. It really is haram ball. It's like we have no imagination as a group. And I genuinely believe this is tactically presented by the coach. He wants the players to play in this manner. because this is what they're training in. They're playing in this kind of way, or they're playing this sort of pattern of play. But it's just poor football. And these players are not poor footballers, in my opinion. These are very talented players, technically gifted, but they're not showing it. And that's what frustrates me more than anything else. And some fans will be pleased, when we get wins here and there, but I need to see better performances. I need to enjoy my team winning these games, not scraping through by luck or by individual mistakes from the opponents. That's not what I want to see. And right now, we're struggling to get a hold of the ball right now. Fulham are passing the ball around the pitch, make us run in circles. Wilson, lovely pass to Robinson. Handball there from Robinson. Just didn't read that bounce. They tried to go with a first time cross, but unable to do so. Remember to Spotley. Good ball from Robinson to Wilson. Ooh. I'm very, very tempted to just recline my seat and lay back because this game is a tough watch from a Liverpool point of view. Clearance there from Van Dijk. Still a throw in for Fulham in the final third. Good pass there from Robinson to Smith Rowe. Good low cross, but cleared away by Van Dijk. Jones trying to provide the press. So does Szoboszlai as they team up together. Robinson. Kenny. Do you know who would benefit from moving to Fulham? Harvey Elliott. I know he can't technically move in this current window due to the rules, but maybe he returns there in the summer. So was like to Verts. Oh, the low cross. Jones tried the back heel there. Very, very unlucky not to get it on target. It was blocked by the Fulham defender. Good play from Verts. And good run there from Jones. Blocked there by Stanya, I think it was. So Bozo with the corner kick. Cleared away by Castagna again. So Bozo with the cross. Gakpo! Oh, so unlucky. I thought that was going to go right in the top bins. Would have been offside. I think the flag was up. Let's see. No, Gakpo would have been onside. I think Gakpo would have been onside there. Also in the comments says, I dare any starting advice to justify this. Verts is the only creative spark. Nobody else is trying anything. That's true. I think Verts and Savoza are the only ones that are trying to make things done, and Jones to an extent. But yeah, Verts is the one that is being a bit more progressive, dribbling, driving the ball. It's very, very frustrating to watch. Going to Liverpool. Oh, poor play there from Kanate. When Knight just lashes the ball up top. Castagna doesn't really and gets the final touch, throwing to Liverpool. Jones, good flick. Can't get past Diop though. Versus Jones. Jones unable to find McAllister there. Fulham trying to create a counter attack, but have to play it back to goal. Castagna. Nice back heel flick there from Raul Jimenez. Man on, going back. Van Dijk to Kirkes. Kirkes to Gakpo. Callister finds Bradley. Kirkes. Szoboszlai. Ozzie converts, play the false 9 roll. He can. He has played there in his career. He's played there for Germany. He's played there for Leverkusen on a few occasions. He's even actually played there in a Liverpool shirt. Uh, I don't know. I just don't feel like that's his favoured role. I feel like he can play there, but I don't think he can play there in full effect. Just because that even though you, as a false nine you drop deep, your hold up play has to be very good in my opinion. That's why when we had Bobby Firmino, he was fantastic as a false nine because his hold up play was for me underrated. I don't think he got enough plaudits for that. And Revert's still adjusting to Premier League football. I don't think he's quite ready to play that role. As a number 10, it's a little bit different because your back is not facing the goal. You've basically got the whole pitch in front of you in that role. So when you're the furthest attacker, you still have to do the combination of both type of play, i.e. hold the ball up, back towards goal, or in a position where you've got the whole pitch in front of you. So yes, he can, but I don't think that would be his strongest position to play, if I'm being honest with you. Without verse up top, this team has zero ideas. Yeah, because Ekitike is someone that is unique as well, where he can drop deep and be a great link up between midfield and attack. Um, I don't mind Gakpo up top if I'm being honest with you. You know, it's not going to be a popular opinion. I don't. I think he can do a decent job. I think he can, get some goals in that position. But I feel like we need to just adapt our tactics a little bit, be a bit more direct. Maybe play either Rio or Chiesa, someone that's a bit more direct on the flanks. Right now, you've got Verts, who's. To be fair, I don't mind Verts on the left, especially when you know Gakpo is in a different position. But the right hand side, I feel like maybe if you had a bit more someone a bit more direct, it's a different outcome. But look, nonetheless, the players we have on the pitch are very talented players. It's just that tactically, I don't think they've been asked to play in an aggressive attacking manner. Bradley, too slow. Took too long to release the ball there. And even that ball was very, very predictable. But to Kirkes, approaching the 40th minute now. Van Dijk on the ball. Just not moving the ball around in a quick way. Playing at a very sort of slow tempo like it's a training ground game. That's what it feels like. Kanate forward pass there to Soboslai. Good block there from Cuenca. Corner kick to the Reds. Soboslai, quick corner kick. Jones. Worse. Good piece of skill. Kanate. Partey to Van Dijk. Towards like good turn. Can he shoot? No, finds Kirkes. Kirkes, his crossing hasn't been great today. Hasn't been able to find a Liverpool man in any of those occasions. We've had 4 shots, 0 on target. That basically paints the picture. And they've had 1 chance and they've scored. That's the difference. We're just not clinical. Allison, free kick to Liverpool. Jones trying to find further pass with the outside of his boot. Blocked by the Fulham defence. Although the comment, slot point Ozzie and the rest of the fan base asleep. I kid you not, I am on the verge of conquering, as you can probably tell on camera right now. Definitely gonna have a little lie down at halftime because this is a tough watch. I feel like I need a quick power nap in order to have any energy to even watch the second half. So yeah, it's been a tough watch. Unfortunately, it's become a constant theme with the recent matches and the recent watch-alongs because we've just not been playing to the level that we should be, in my opinion. McAllister, number up top, blocked by Fulham there. 2 minutes of added time. Kenny to Smith Rowe. Wilson leaves it for Castagna. Great cross from Castagna. Raul Jimenez scuffs his shot there. Wasn't able to wrap his foot around the ball. Yep, loses it to Bats. Kirkes to McAllister. Jones to Kirkes. No one's like moving around asking for the ball. Everyone's in just static positions here. Pass and move, pass and move. That's rule number one when you play football. Gakpo to Szoboszlai. Ah, played behind him. Poor layoff there from the Dutchman. Konate to Bradley. Szoboszlai dinks it towards Bats. Poor pass there from Bats. Just got a comment here from Abdul. Said Assalamu alaikum. Walaikum salam to you, Abdul. It's Ozzie in chat. Fulham 1, Liverpool 0. Harrison goal. 5 midfielders and no wingers. Does his head coach know what he's doing? to answer that question. No, he doesn't. And he's also said the Venezuela situation is messed up. No talk about US. Yeah, the Venezuela situation, of course, is definitely messed up. But when US invade these type of nations, there's always an agenda. And regards to Venezuela, of course, we all know that they have a lot of oil. So that's probably why that they're there, and they are presenting false accusations on the Venezuela president. And also, Venezuela president has been very supportive of Palestine over the years. So, you know, you also have their agendas. And yeah, I don't want to get into too much political stuff, but yeah, it's just one of those things where don't believe what you read in the news or watch on the news. Like, you got your CNNs, all those type of places, because what they're presenting is just propaganda. It's not real information. They try to suggest that Venezuelan people are happy about the capture of their president, which is absolutely false. Because if you're on social media, you'll see that people are not happy. But that's complete nonsense there. But we'll focus on the football. Abdul says too much backward silence to silence slow football. Completely agree with you there, Abdul. That is exactly the best way to describe our football right now, and it's absolutely boring. Alden says terrible first half. Nobody dares to create. The Denza is petroleum. Yes, that's true. It is petroleum. Any country resource is a target. Facts. It's the human race. Unfortunately, that is 100% true. That was especially when it comes to the US. Whenever they are in need of certain materials or resources, and they know there's a country that aren't as powerful, but they feel like they can take advantage in any shape or form, they are always there. That's why the likes of Iraq, if Afghanistan have been invaded over the years, as well as a lot of other nations. So yeah, this is not sort of a surprise to many of us because we know the history of the US in terms of how they operate. But yeah, that's just how it is, unfortunately. So yeah, hopefully prayers to the president. Hopefully, unfortunately, it looks like he's going to head to prison. They've tried to label it as he's got drugs and weapon possession. Um, so yeah, it's a shame. Unfortunately, it's just how the world works right now. The British Empire also did too. I was like, yep, that is correct. That is correct. That's why they invaded countries all over Africa and South America and Asia, in particular as well. So yeah, it's no no surprise, is it? It's why the entire world speaks English. And yeah, it's true. It's true. It's a fact. To be fair, but that is it in terms of the first half. I'll be honest with you guys. I need to have a bit of a lie down. Or have a 5 to 10 minute power nap because that match or that first hour, I say, was absolutely boring, and I was really, 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 really struggling to stay up or stay awake, I should say. So I'm gonna have a little snooze. Hopefully, I don't oversleep. I'm gonna have put an alarm on to make sure I'm back on stream very, very shortly. So I'll see you guys on the other side. Bo, big up Bo. Says Ozzy, that first hour was shit. I couldn't agree with you more. To be fair, Bo. But I'm gonna have a short break. Feel free to grab yourself a snack or a drink, and then we'll be back in about next 5 or 10 minutes. I'll see you guys very, very soon. Hello, guys. Welcome back to the second half of this live watch along between Fulham and Liverpool. As you are aware, had to take a little step away from the desk because I quite frankly found that really boring. I'm sure you guys did as well. Tried to have a power nap, couldn't really have too much of a rest due to the timing of the game. Got myself some fresh juice. My son made me some juice, so hopefully that will give me enough energy to stay awake for the second half. Um, so right now I'm struggling. I'm struggling, and I'm sure you guys are as well. Uh, did Steve says slot in? We got Steve. I hope you're well. Did Ozzie drink some coffee or Red Bull in the preparation? I didn't. I don't normally drink coffee. Probably just should have just gone to the shops to get a Red Bull, but I didn't have time, so my son's made me fresh juice. So I thought hopefully that will give me the energy, give me a boost to some sort of extent. Um, if not, I'm gonna have to pop out and get a Red Bull or something because oh god, I don't know if I can survive another 45 minutes of that. But at the same time, that has been the tale of our season, hasn't it? So yeah, not a good look for us Liverpool fans, but what can you do? When you support a team, you have to be there through freaking thin. And right now we're here, and we're struggling to stay awake right now. But in terms of the team setup, I'm hoping and praying that Arne Slot makes some changes. I don't think he will personally. Of course, we'll get confirmation as soon as the players are walking onto the pitch. If I was Slot, which I'm, if I was, then I think we'd be winning a lot more games. But if I was Slot, then I would bring on Rio and Gamoa at halftime. Quite frankly, I'd be brave to do that. Give the boy the confidence to really make a statement in the game. Replace him for. I'd replace him for McAllister, even though I don't think McAllister has been that bad today. I think he's actually done all right. Play Rio on the left and then put Verts in that number 10 role. I'd replace Gakpo for Chiesa because I feel like Chiesa is a better finisher and he can play that striker role better than Gakpo, in my opinion. And then that would be the first two substitutions that I make. And then later in the game, bring on Frimpong, use his pace to stretch the team and hopefully help us get a goal. So yeah, that's what I'll do. I'll do two substitutions on the bat, but I don't expect the manager to do that. And I'm looking at the squad right now. It looks like everyone's the same. So no real changes to the team. So we continue as we were in the first half. I'll say only decent thing today is Leeds drew 1-1 against Scum United. Yeah, we'll take that as a positive, isn't it? And Brentford are being the bitter blue nose if we know in their own gaff. Yeah, that's huge from Brentford. So yeah, we'll take the positives out of negative situations, I guess. Speaking of negatives, it looks like oh, Justania pretty much need Jones on the back there. That's a bit of a sore one. But no changes made. I shouldn't be surprised, I know, but I'm surprised that he's not reactive as a manager or as a coach, is he? I feel like last season he was. And I don't know what it is with Arne Slot. I watched the press conference the other day and he was asked very simple questions. And the first couple of questions he was asked, he was like holding his head, oh, that's a tough question. I'm thinking, you're not even listening. And then he had to ask the guy to repeat it. So for me, he's already feeling the pressure. He's already stressed. And I don't know if that is clouding his judgment where he's a bit too cautious now, where he's not adventurous in his tactics or his setup. But look, you have a squad full of elite talent, in my opinion. You can't make them play cautious football. That's not going to it. That's not their natural game. Oh, Ah, I got too excited, didn't I? Great cross there from Kirkes, first time cross to his best mate, Gakpo, who never passes the ball to him. And Gakpo with an instinctive finisher. Let's see if it was. He's miles offside. Miles offside there. Gakpo. Oh, that's a Gakpo was so offside he was stood in I know, but not Ozzie. Yeah, it might as well be. Miles offside there, honestly. That's when you know he doesn't play as a striker, 'cause he had no positional sense to stay on side there. Ridiculous. I've had my glass of fresh juice. Hopefully, that gives me the energy now. But yeah, Kirkes. Nice pass. Great control from Burks to Jones. Jones does really well. Come on now. Free kick for Liverpool. Mm. Uh-oh. Journey trying to find Wilson there. Madison did really well to get off his line. Mhm. Ozzy in the comments says, Ozzy just pick one to add to our current squad. Hypothetically, of course. He's gone for okay. A prime Coutinho, a prime Riquelme, a prime Pablo Aimar, a prime Messi, a prime CR7, and a prime R9. Good question. Hmm, that's a great question. For me, the automatic answer would be prime R9. I'm not saying that our strikers aren't good, but I feel like he was a different level of a striker. And he was one of those strikers where he could score something out of nothing. And start mentioning in the press conference that sometimes you need players to be able to create a magical moment in the game. And I feel like Ronaldo would do that all the time on a regular basis, if I'm being honest. So for me, the answer is prime R9. That's the player I would go for. Yeah, so I've gone for one answer. That is prime R9. So that's the player that I would go for. Alan says online was the one true generation talent facts. And considering the fact that he picked up two major injuries, the first one being at Inter Milan, the knee injury, but then he returned uh, and then got injured again. You know, those were career threatening injuries. They really were. And despite that, you know, for me, he how he played one of the best sort of level of football in those times. And he's one of my favorite players. I'm gonna say it point blank. He's one of my favorite players of all times. And I used to hate the fact that people would call him Big Ronaldo because you know he put on a bit of size as he got older, but that was more of a medical reason rather than him just high on the weight because he's you know having barbecues left, right, and center. Of course, he had a condition where, uh, due to high metabolism, he was gaining more weight than normal. So despite that, he was still lethal. He was still quick. For me, he was an unbelievable finisher. Um, So even though you can ask that question, what if he never picked up that injury? Where would he be right now? But I still believe he achieved, and that is a fair point. But I still feel like he achieved a lot in his career that many would not even dream or even be able to do in their lifetime. So for me, my R9 is the guy for me all day long. Just too new pro. No, it's just unfortunate to pick up two serious injuries because the first one was the knee injury, and then he returned and then picked up the same injury in the on the same knee as well. So yeah, very unlucky in that moment. But yeah, one of my favorite players of all time for sure. Suppose that was a corner kick for Liverpool. Oh, we hit the crossbar again. Was that McAllister with the header? It was. Very unlucky there from McAllister. Also, the comment says, bro, his pace and acceleration was like a 100-meter sprinter. Yeah. And not only that, when he would run at full pace, he's able to do step overs and flip flaps and all those type of tricks whilst running at that speed. So he was one of a kind. He really was. And another thing that I don't feel like he gets spoken about was the fact that his left foot was just as good as his right foot. Like he scored a lot of goals with his left foot. Like he was very, very clinical on his weaker foot. So for me, unbelievable player. He really was. Found it from Bradley on Wilson. Soft for me. That was given. Good header from McAllister. Could he have done better? Yeah, I guess in hindsight, in terms of where his position, but I still feel like it was a good header overall. Just very unlucky. Other than that, could Prime Online and XTK form a strike partnership though? I think so. I think Online was one of those strikers where he had good link up play. Like he wasn't just a selfish striker or striker that just plays up top. He was a striker that likes to attack the channels. So for me, yeah, yeah, I think they would have actually provided a good balance for each other. So I think so. Yeah, I'd have to agree to that. Um, that's more or less dreamland stuff, isn't it? But yeah, I think they could have based on their profile and their style of play. Konate does not make it look easy, does he? 55 minutes played. I'm hoping there's a few players being warmed up right now because we need changes to be made. Lovely ball from Soboslai to Florian Wirtz up to Castagna. Wirtz, can you shoot? Come on. No, Wirtz, too much. If you're gonna shoot, you gotta go with it. You gotta be direct there. Bradley. Wirtz! Ah, another offside. What's wrong with these players? Have they forgotten the offside rule or something? Let's have a look. Oh, he's just offside there. Just offside there. Not as bad as Gakpo earlier on. Verse was just a toe offside there. It was literally very, very marginal. I think are they still reviewing it? I think they are. Ozzie said these men can't stay on side. Bloody hell, yeah, they can't. It's definitely worth reviewing. Of course, with the technology that the VAR have, you can draw those lines and see how close it is because it's marginal. It's very, very marginal. But those things when you don't add those lines, you'll never know, right? So let's see. Let's see what happens here. Harry Wilson was like a yard on side. I don't think he's a yard on side. I think he's either level or just off, in my opinion. I think from first reaction, he looked like he was just offside there. How long does it take to draw some lines? Honestly, it's a goal. I did say to you guys, it looked very, very close. I thought he's marginal stuff, but when you base it on certain angles and stuff, it could be different. Let's have a look. Yeah, let's have a look at it. Yeah, look, a toe is just about there, just about. We'll take that all day long. Ozzy says no way. Big up to Ozzy with the super chat. Says Ozzy's client strikes again. He certainly does. He certainly does. And to be fair, I think he's probably been our best player today. He's been the one, as you mentioned earlier on, Ozzy. He's the one that has looked like he's trying to create something for the team. In the end, he's become the goal scorer. And look, his second goal of the season. As I said to you guys, last week's goal was first of many, and he will continue to score many, many more. So yeah, I'm very, very happy for my client there. And he's leveled it 1-1. Still believe we need to make some changes to continue from this. Don't just sit on our laurels and think, yeah, we're gonna get a point. I want us to be a bit more adventurous, a bit more ambitious with our play now. Bring on some attackers and take it from there. But with this coach, with this manager, he's got a very cautious way of doing things. Ozzy's gonna get them bonus checks in the mail. I hope so. I'm waiting for those checks. So yeah, I hope so. Oh, oh, oh! That was a poor clearance there from Robinson, and Leno had to make that clearance. Now Fulham are feeling the pressure, so we have to capitalize in this moment here. Go aggressive for the next 5 minutes. Get that second goal, and keep applying that pressure. Jones, he wants too close to each other on that right hand side. They need to spread out. For reverts on the right hand side, low cross. But he gets the ball back again. Unable to find Bradley on his right hand side. Kanate, come on, Kanate. Not gonna lie, he was even lucky to get a free kick there. Konate got away with murder there, he really did. Good finish. Left footed, just over the keeper's leg. Clinical finish there from the German playmaker. And knocked the camera out as well in the process. Nice fit from Bert. Going back to Gakpo. Gakpo dropping deep. Shoot! Not bad effort there. That's fine. I don't mind that. I really don't mind that. Got to try and test the keeper. He's just been a spectator like us. Surprised he never fell asleep in the first half. So we need to challenge him, even if it's shot style going wide or straight at him. We've got to challenge. We've got to build that momentum. Can't be frozen out and only having one or two shots here and there. That's not enough. We need to pepper the shots into the goal right now, and hopefully we'll get some going in. Till you try, you never know, right? So that's what Liverpool need to do: is keep trying, keep applying those shots on goal, and hopefully we can extend the scoreline and get the win today. Jones, lovely touch from Jones. Lovely free ball from Jones. Oh, slight overplayed there for Gakpo. I was gonna saying get Chiesa in this game, Ozzie. Yeah, I definitely think we need to get Chiesa. I'd like to see Chiesa up top to replace Gakpo. I think he's more clinical in comparison to the Dutchman. And I think he'll press from the front as well. He'll give us that energy up top, like he did in the game against Crystal Palace during the Carabao Cup. So I think he can definitely do that role. And with better quality players around him, that was a makeshift team that he played with. I think he can definitely have an impact in the game. I'm saying take my Gakpo out. Yeah, I agree. I would take Gakpo out as well. But we need some fresh legs to sustain this momentum. I agree. Daz, big up Daz here. Would you get fresh legs ready, Ozzy? Yes, I would. I would get them ready immediately, to be honest with you. Um, I feel like we have to be aggressive in the next 5 minutes, but also bring players on. Bring on the likes of Chiesa, Rio and Gamoa, Frimpong, if you want to add a bit of width. Bring these players on because I feel like they'll make a difference. We have to put Fulham on the back pedal right now. They need to be tracking back. They need to play defensively, and we have to expose them or we have to break them down with our attack. None of this patient build up, ball possession play. We need to be direct now. We need to show our quality. We need to show our dominance as Premier League champions. I know we're not there right now, but we still are champions. We got to show that against teams where we're not gonna have free kick there for Liverpool. Oh, it's taken too quickly there. That says I would get Rio ready for Goldie. I would bring on Rio for McAllister personally, and then put Verts in the number 10 role, and then I would have Chiesa replacing Gakpo. So I would have brought on two substitutions at halftime personally. That's what I would have done, and then later in the game bring on Frimpong, um, so we can have a bit of width, a bit of direct pace on the flanks, especially on that right hand side. Was I the corner kick? Jones to Gakpo. Good turn of pace there from Gakpo. What the hell is that? What kind of shot was that? Oh, it does look like Quinca got a touch on the ball, but I'm not gonna lie, from that angle, it didn't look like he did. But no, I think he made a poor choice there. There's a few players in the box should have crossed it in there or applied a cut back pass. Once they need to pressure them. I totally agree with you. Slow, it's so slow to act, man. Do it now. Yeah, he's just very cautious. Last season, he wasn't like this. So this is what surprises me about him. He knows his job on online, but at the same time, you've got to play to your instincts. You've got to play to your strengths. And we have a lot of players on the bench that can have an impact on this game. It feels like he's happy to sell for a 1-1 draw. I'm not happy about that. That is not acceptable for me at all. You need to try and get a win today. We really do. It puts us in a great position, puts us in a great mental space when we face Arsenal next week. So gotta do better. Excuse me. Donate, Ozan, Gakpo's on the left hand side right now. Who's offside? Bloody hell. We've been offside far too many times today. And look, they're already on the counter now. I can't see any movement on the I can't see any players on the touchline warming up. Standing with the cross. Oh, that's a great cross. Solante was quite frankly lucky to block that. It was more Jimenez hitting the ball onto his body rather than the other way around, where he's making the block because he didn't make that block. He was being in the air, he was falling to ground, and the ball hit him, basically. So I wouldn't quite give Konate full credit there. Although in the comments says, bro, this Fulham team is there for the taking. What it's not waiting for, I don't know what he's waiting for. Because now the momentum has shifted. When we score that goal, I said for the next 5 minutes, we've got to be really aggressive and go full flow. We didn't do that. And now they've got a bit of momentum. They've gathered a bit of pace, a bit of sense of hold on. It's a yellow card there for Harry Wilson. But yeah, as I was saying, they've got the momentum now. They've got a sense of knowing that they can still get into the game. They can get the winner. It's equal scoreline right now. Slot, as always, takes his time, delays the substitutions. It's not proactive as a coach, I don't think. Got 20 minutes to play. We need to get that winning goal. And you don't want to just get one goal. You want to extend it to about two, three more goals so you just have a gap to avoid any frustration towards the end. Wilson with a shot. Oh, he almost makes it 2-1 for Fulham. Excuse me. Wilson with the corner kick. Good header there from Konate. Wilson. Raul Jimenez trying a bicycle kick from an audacious position there. Please tell me that's a Liverpool substitution. Oh god, it's not. See, look, Marco Silva's been proactive there. He's been on Kevin, who's a live wire of a winger, and you got Sanderberg, who is big and strong and industrious in that middle of the park. So they're definitely trying to protect their lead right now, but at the same time, bringing on Kevin, who will be a player they'll utilize on the counter. So their coach knows what they're doing. Our coach, unfortunately, doesn't, and he's not made a single substitution right now when we certainly need some fresh blood on the pitch, in my opinion. Valley with the throw-in. Honestly, bro, if this ends in a draw, this is on start 100%. He's not been proactive as a coach. He hasn't made any substitutions. It has to be on him 100%. Because the players did their thing, they got back into the game, but you got to build that momentum. You got to continue to build on your attack. You can't just go back to your normal way of playing, i.e., being cautious and just playing ball possession football. That's not how it works. Well, the ball. Only one man in the box. Come on, gotta support him. So was like to Jones. Konate. Terrible pass from Konate. Thank God there are some substitutions being made. Pong's coming on for Vats. I'm a little bit confused by that substitution, to be honest with you. Yeah, I'm not sure about that one personally. What about Chiesa and Ryan Gamora? I don't know what this coach is playing at, to be honestly. Mm-hmm. Jimenez through and goal. Oh, it hits the crossbar. Van Dijk, damn it! What the hell is Van Dijk doing? Taking forever to make that clearance. Bloody hell. He took so long to make that clearance. Like he was on cuckoo land or something. Jimenez. Oh, Allison actually hits it onto the crossbar. Wilson in the shot. I was just so angry, bro. I just honestly, for a split second, I felt like he was just not going to make that clearance because the ball was just hanging in the air and he's just watching it like that. And I can see Raul Jimenez pressuring him. I'm thinking, this guy, why is he not making a clearance? But that was calamity defending there, wasn't it? Great ball to find Raul Jimenez, of course. Tomate does enough to put him off a little bit to make the direct hit. But after that, yeah, poor piece of play there from Liverpool. Still surprised that we haven't brought on the likes of Keys and Rion Gamora. Come on, Ping Pong. Kevin, get past Bradley. And I'm also quite surprised that Bradley's still there because I think Bradley's been quite ineffective today. It would have made more sense to bring Bradley off and bring on Ping Pong to replace him directly. And then you bring on Chiesa for the right hand side and Gamora up top, or Chiesa up top, and Gamora on the left hand side. But this coach just refuses to utilize his attackers. Let's be honest. Also the cross, Kevin Jones, Bradley to Frimpong, Jones on the left, Frimpong, ball crossed there in the end. Also, the comment says, "Bro, what has Gakpo done? Man has been ineffective and still on the pitch, Ozzie." Yeah, he's just he's the coach's favorite, isn't he? I'm not surprised. But I've been screaming for Kieza's name for a while. I feel like we should have won Chiesa a long, long time ago. And you know what Scott's gonna do? He's gonna bring on Rio, or he's gonna bring on Chiesa for like 2 minutes. You got Thiago scoring a hat trick for Brentford. I should get some FPL points there. I've got Thiago in my team. There's Jones. And I'd say McAllister tries to find supposed line, not enough on the board there. Stanya. Gakpo press. Why are you just standing there? Frimpong. Well done, Frimpong. A comment here from Ozzie. So you're telling me that the allegations that Slot spent the night at Gatford's house for Christmas is true? It might be, mate. It might. I don't know. I don't know. But even if that was not true, we all know that Gakpo is the coach's favorite. Whenever he's available, he's pretty much one of the first names on the team sheet, which I don't think is correct. I don't think he should be the first name on the team sheet because he's not the best player by 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 a long mile. So he's gone away with a lot of poor performances this season. Kaka the cross, unable to find McAllister in the 6-yard box there. 83 minutes played. We've got a lot of work to do. Look, they're being more proactive than us. They're bringing on Adama Traore and Kusia Sare. Looks like Chiesa coming on as well. Always takes the piss out of Chiesa, doesn't he? I'm hoping for a Chiesa match winner. I really am. He's replacing Curtis Jones, so that looks like he will either play on the left and Gakpo remains central, or vice versa. Gakpo on the left and Chiesa up top. I would go for Chiesa up top in this matter, to be fair. So yeah, that's exactly what it looks like. Gakpo's on the left, and Chiesa is playing up top. Currently hear the fans singing "Here's a Song." Hopefully he's able to get a match winner today. That would be amazing. Callister? Oh no, referee says no foul. Don't totally agree with that, to be fair. Kirkes, calm down. What's with the clearances? Just needed to lay it off to a red shirt, literally a few yards away from you. Castagna driving the ball. Adama Traore. Lukic. Mm. Excuse me. Just about surviving here, staying awake. Hoping to see a Chiesa match winner. That's what I'm praying for right now. Traore. Decent cross there. Bradley makes a clearance. Cross there. Hoops up top. Fulham playing some good football right now. Lukic with the ball finds Robinson. Robinson to Kevin, but Kevin unable to get onto the ball. But what is that from Konate? Keep control of the ball and play it forward. Why are you hitting it towards the sides there, giving them a throw in? Just giving them another opportunity in the final third. Poor decision making there from Konate. Didn't need to do that. Robinson, good cross to be fair. Oh, Kirkins makes the clearance. That wasn't far. Oh, this is so frustrating. Feels like we're settling for a draw. That's not acceptable. That was a foul throw, wasn't it? Look at Kevin. Look at Kevin. Twinkle toes. Bradley as well to take the ball away from him. Oh, I was going to say poor passing from Allison, but Bradley just about keeps the ball for Liverpool. Yeah. Kirkes as well to get the ball. Finds Gakpo. Gakpo passed the ball to Chiesa. Chiesa, why? I mean, Gakpo, why did you stop your run there? 7 minutes of stoppage time. Wow. Gotta make it count now. We really do. Honestly, bro, don't tell me we're gonna be stuck with Gakpo all January long. Might be Ozzie, I'm not gonna lie to you. I would rotate between him and Chiesa, but I don't see Chiesa getting starts like that. He might get a rare start against Barnsley, but that's the only time he will. Which is yeah, ridiculous to say, but it is what it is, I guess. Hopefully the coach surprises us and doesn't do that all the time. And Salah should be back in the next couple of weeks as well, so we'll have another option in our attacking positions in the team. No more Salah, no Isana TS peak. Yeah, it really is. It is peak. It shouldn't feel peak because you've got Chiesa, you've got the likes of Rion Gamoa in the squad. So why not utilize them? You have to stop being so stubborn and you need to utilize these attacking players. Stop playing players that are not renowned to play on the wings. It's not helping anyone. Frustrating from the coach, it really is. To Robinson. Thing with the parents, but it goes as far as for throwing. Mm. Bradley just was like, come on, gotta do better than this. We're so flat right now. We're not showing any real urgency to try and get the winner. Kirkes, Capo, too long. We're just about find Gravenberg. Bradley to ping pong. Oh, there you go. Got the goal. Finally. Finally got the goal. I was saying Gakpo saving Slot's job. Yeah, he certainly is. Tisha's pet comes to the rescue, doesn't he? Gakpo indeed. Yes, Gakpo does get the goal. Let's have a look at the goal. Good cross from Ping Pong. Yeah, probably a mistake there from Anderson, who should have made that clearance. But that's not our problem there. Gakpo was alert and made sure he was on the near pass. And look, wasn't even the cleanest of strikes. He pretty much hit his thigh into the back of the net. We'll take that all day long. As long as we get the 3 points, that's what counts for me. Gakpo has been substituted. Joe Gomez coming off for the next 2 minutes. Then says Trent, who, Ozzie? Great assist by Frimpong again. Yeah. Look, Frimpong's not going to produce those Hollywood passes that Trent does. And quite frankly, not a lot of people in the world can even do that, let alone a right back. But what Frimpong brings you is that traditional crossing from the flanks from a fullback, where it's going to be low crosses or high crosses inside the box. But as long as he's. Oh my God. What the hell was that? Oh my God. I'm not laughing out of delight here. I'm absolutely shocked by what's just happened. What an absolute screamer. Wow. That's the last action of the game, and they've just got the equalizer. Ain't no way. I can't believe what I just saw. From a outrageous position. Wow. What an unbelievable strike. That is unstoppable. That just came out of nowhere as well. Cobbins, yep. Who scored? The scorer was Reed. As I said, bro, Ozzy, I still stand by my statement. I hear you. I hear you. Wow, I thought we got the winner there. I'm not gonna lie. How we just conceded a goal straight after taking the lead is beyond me. But it tells me that we should have scored in the 7th minute when Fulham were reeling Ozzy. Yep, we should have gone on the attack a lot more, in my opinion, but we just didn't do it, unfortunately. So left us way too late. Yes, he did. He really did. Literally, after we scored that goal, we should have got a couple players on, in my opinion. Bring Pong after to Chiesa, but oh my god. Hey, I'm not sure we're gonna get on the end of that one. Kakes to Frimpong. Go on, Frimpong. Joe Gomez. Ah, that's going to be the final piece of the action. Comments here from Lucas saying Liverpool need to suspend in Jan. Yeah, we need a defender, but that's not the reason why we drew today. I don't think we took our chances. I don't think we attacked well today. Of course, we've conceded 2 goals. That last goal was a moment out of nowhere, wasn't it? And the first goal was just a good finish. You got to give credit to the attacker. You guys also need to stop cycling big names throughout a game. You don't give the player enough time to adapt and adjust to the opposition. That's true. If that's in reference to someone like Chiesa, I agree. You know, you can't put on Chiesa for the last 5, 10 minutes and expect him to make a change. This is something that the coach needs to look into a bit more. He needs to utilize players better. He needs to make substitutions a lot earlier than he does because it impacts the game. You can't expect a player to make an impression with 5, 10 minutes to spare. When you put a centre back on, that's different. That's you pretty much securing a lead or playing defensive. Start shaking his head. We're all shaking our heads right now. And the Fulham players are surrounding Harrison Reed saying, "Oh, where did that come from? We know you had that in the locker." That's how much of a surprise it was. Uh, for me, drop points today. Yes, I know we took the lead very late on, but you've got to manage the game properly there. As I said, this is onslaught. Honestly, I agree. Poor management, poor subs. Didn't recognize that the game was there for the taking the 60th or to 70th minute. I agree. Okay, yes, I've done way too late. Steve staying slot in. These very much fools will never learn. If you're starting, I really don't know what to say. Um, this is not. I, I'm trying to, as you can tell, I'm trying to pick my words carefully here. You can't tell me this is acceptable. You can't tell me this is the level of play that you expect from Liverpool Football Club. This is not how we're built. We're not built to play this haram ball, as Ozzy mentioned earlier on. And it's all good about saying, "Oh, we haven't lost this and that," but that feels like a defeat to me. Again, we had the lead and we dropped 2 points. We have dropped points today. There's no way you can be pleased or happy that we haven't lost in 8 games, because that seems to be the narrative from start. Oh, we haven't lost in 8 games. That's not good enough. Put context into it. We've had a lot of draws in those 8 games. 0-0 draws, 1-1 draws. Today, 2-2. Simply not good enough. And his management has cost us once again. When we were taking the lead, that was the time. Or should I say when we equalized? Because of course they scored the first goal. And then we equalized. In that moment, I think it's around the 60th minute, 65th minute. That was our time to bring on players and go for the attack. Sometimes the best form of defense is attacking, and that works for a team like Liverpool. I'm not just going by our name, I'm going based on the profile players that we have. We could have gone on to attack. Why didn't you bring on the likes of Rio and Gamoa into the game? Why did you not bring on Chiesa earlier in the game? Two attacking players that would have helped, in my opinion. Poor management from this coach, honestly. And I know what he's gonna say. Oh, we were unlucky. That was he's gonna make so much rubbish excuses, and I'm sick and tired of hearing it now, quite frankly. You've allowed the team to get back into the game. Even when we got that goal in the final minutes of the game, automatically you drop back. I know I said earlier on when we drew, we went, in the 60th minute is different to the 95th minute. In the 95th minute, you hold back, you defend with more cautious. That's why we brought on Joe Gomez. But then you still like his philosophy is all wrong. In that moment, you're supposed to manage the game. You're supposed to drop deep and hold off for that 2-1 win. But when you're 1-0 up in today's scenario, we equalized, the momentum shifted. We've had games this season where we've been 2-0 up and the team has scored one goal and the game has changed because they have the momentum. Like his management is all over the place in terms of game management. That was the time to go all out and go for the second, for the third goal. But if that doesn't happen, that's football. You can't have it all. But if you get the second goal, the winning goal in the 95th minute, and there's 2 minutes left of stoppage time, go ultra defensive. I could not care less if we play the low block. Take a leaf out of the books of the other teams in this league. They do the same thing. So why are we going with the completely opposite approach of going for the attack in the final 2 minutes? It doesn't make sense. Yes, the goal that was the equalizer is a bit of a worldie of a finish. Let's not kill ourselves. What a phenomenal finish. And I'm sure Harrison really didn't know he had that in his locker. But he shouldn't have got to that moment, in my opinion. It should have got to that. But this coach just never learns. He never learns. Let me go through some of the comments here. Um, Ozzy, I'm so angry, bro. That should have been a 3-2 or 3-1, even with that screamer. Exactly. Yes, we scored the second goal late on, but then you've got to switch your style of play. Oh, we got to hold off for 2 minutes to get that win. Everyone does that. All the big teams do that. There's no shame in doing that, especially for the last 2 minutes of a game. But what I don't like is in the past when we've been 2 up, that's when we played like that kind of formation. He just doesn't know how to manage at this top level. He really doesn't. Oh, that's saying poor management, poor game management. Yeah, I agree. Abdul, fourth position. I'm not going to read out all of the losses there, but you said slot out. This head coach is clueless, slow, side to side, backward passing. Yeah, I agree. Very cautious play, and he is clueless when it comes to game management. I truly believe that. Managers made some after we equalize. Yeah, exactly. You normally when you're in that when you get that shift of momentum, that's when you capitalize and you try and bring on players that can make a difference in the game. And yes, we don't have you know big heavy hitters in our bench right now, but Ryan Gamara for me will cause any fullback an issue in any day of the week. Chiesa is an accomplished winger. He can make the difference. Whether you play him up top or whether you play him on the wings, he can make the difference. So why were they not utilizing this game? It's ridiculous in terms of how he utilizes the players in the squad. He really doesn't know when to make use of these players in the right time in the right moments. Honestly, how is this blind so how is this manager so blind? I have no idea. I really don't. I would say the recent performance and results have been unsatisfactory and are not to the expected standard. The current state of football is not media attention as a cause of concern. Graham, big up Graham. Says great goal, but could have been closed down. Yeah, it could have been closed down. Lucas says I want to put the blame on Slot. He's a good manager, but he did make poor transfers in summer. I have to disagree. I don't think he made poor transfers in the summer. I feel like the players that he brought in definitely would have fitted the style of play that we presented last season. That's why we went on to win the league. But my concern is more so that this season we've completely changed the way we play. And with the constant runs of defeats we've had this season, the coach has completely gone off the rails and is playing with a more of a cautious approach. I just don't feel like he's utilized the squad well enough. Of course, if we won the game today, then we're happy. But I've not been happy in terms of our level of performances. We're not playing the right type of football that we should be seeing from this team. So I'm a little bit concerned in terms of how the manager is set on the team. Because for me, they're not playing to the players' strengths. We're playing cautious football. We're not playing attacking football. So for me, that's a concern for the short to medium term. Gibbs, I was not confident even with a minute left. I thought we got away with it. I'm not gonna lie. I just didn't even expect Fulham to get back into the game like that. Obviously, this coach has no ideas and no solutions. Just wait what Slot will say in the press conference. Ozzie, we aren't beating any games, and that's going to be the thing. A lot of fans will say that too, and the manager will say the same. Oh, we're undefeated, but you're speaking like we're undefeated, like we won 8 on the bounce. We haven't won 8 on the bounce. We're not climbing up the table like that. Yes, I know we're in fourth position, but we should be a lot higher. We have dropped so many points in those last 8 games that we shouldn't have dropped. We should have won those games. A win today would have given us a boost in morale going up against Arsenal next week. And that's why when we go into games, I'm not confident. I just don't know how the team is going to be set up tactically. I don't know if the right profiles are going to start the game. I don't know if the coach will manage the game correctly as well in terms of making the right substitutions, having the right way of playing or right setup based on the scenario, i.e., the scoreline. He's making a lot of errors this season, and he's been found out, in my opinion. Graham says, "Look, I think he has lost the plot, but even if he eventually turned it around, the most he can ever do is make us into a successful, boring team." I agree. Lucas says the team has the potential and will improve massively by the end of the season. Big team changes take a while to work out. I appreciate your optimism, but I don't see it being under this coach. I feel like we need to make a change in the summer. I'd make a change right now, to be honest with you. I would have made a change in November, quite frankly. But I've just not been happy with his direction, the way he's managed the players, the way he's utilized the squad. I think the style of play has dropped in comparison to how he used to play. So yeah, it's been a very mixed bag of a season. And I'm not saying it's all Slot. The players need to be held accountable as well. A lot of them have performed below par. So if performances were played at a high level, the outcome would also, of course, also be different as well. But I have to look at the coach in terms of how he sets the team and how he utilizes the players in the squad. Players like Chiesa haven't been given a fair crack of the whip, in my opinion. Today we need someone clinical. and we brought him in for the last 5-10 minutes. Should have brought him in a lot earlier. We've got a young player in Rio and Gamar. I'm not saying he's the answer or he's the solution, but in some games you do need someone just to come on and be a bit more direct, go at the fullback, stretch the run of play, and when you've got a player on the byline like that, you do open up gaps, and that allows midfielders and the strikers to find themselves in better positions. But because we don't normally play that way, we're quite close knitted. We're not spread around the pitch. And today we're playing at Craven Cottage, which is probably one of the smallest grounds in the league. So we really didn't play to our strengths. And I feel like this was a game where we should have got a win. We had a lot of chances. I know we hit the crossbar 2-3 times, but I feel like we should have done a lot better today. We should have been a lot more clinical. Fulham barely created chances today. So that's why it feels like this is a missed opportunity, because you've got a Fulham team that probably had a few shots and they were more clinical than us. So yeah, it's disappointing for me. I'm very, very frustrated with the outcome of today. Abdul said FSG, get him out of Liverpool, start out. Ozan said thanks for streaming anyways, Ozzy, as per usual. Big up yourself, Ozan. Appreciate your support as always. We'll be back later on tonight as we'll do a match reaction show around 11 p.m. UK time today. So make sure to tune in. Lucas says, I think the transfer of Isak was pointless after they brought in Ekatike, and bringing two attacking fullback isn't ideal either. Now, in terms of Isak and Ekatike, we the plan was probably to bring in one striker, but unfortunately, due to the tragic loss of Diogo Jota, we needed to add another striker to the ranks, and therefore we went for Ekatike and Isak in the end. And in terms of the fullbacks, maybe there was a plan to play a back three, and that's why we were trying to get Mark Gay. I don't know. I'm just trying to fit it accordingly. But at the same time, I still feel like these two fullbacks can play. I'm referring to Kirkes and Frimpong here in the same team. It's just that the current setup is not beneficial of them being in the team. So I've been screaming this for a long, long time. I think we should be playing a 4-4-2 diamond formation. That way, you've got a number 6 in Gravenberg who plays as a number 6. And I know he's scored a couple goals this season and provides some assists as well. But he's had a free role. I don't want my number 6 having a free role. I need my number 6 to be a static player, to be the protector of the back four, to be an enforcer of the team, but also a deep playmaker in that role. He's not been played in that manner. And we've had the likes of McAllister dropping in that role, and he's been exposed. He just doesn't have the legs this season. And I think, this could be the downfall of his form as a Liverpool player, because I don't see him improving going forward. And if you've got that kind of formation, you've got Kirkes on the byline, you've got Frimpong on the byline, and you've got Verts playing in his natural position, and you've got either Ekatike, Isak, or one of those strikers alongside Salah. Salah playing a more central role, because I feel like that's where you're going to get the best out of Salah, playing as a striker rather than a winger, but he doesn't have that dynamic speed anymore. So I've alluded to this quite a few times over the months. So I feel like we have a good bunch of players. We have the right profile, where we just haven't utilized them well, and we haven't played a system to the players' strengths. That's what you do as a coach. And the debate will be, were they his players? We will never know. But when you have these players in your disposal, you have to utilize them and put them in a system that you will get the best results. You get the best end product from these players that helps you become successful in the seasons. But Slot, I just feel like he's gone back a few steps. I really do. Lucas says, yeah, defense change necessary, but look at when Mbappe went to Real, the team suffered with the change. But now look at them, what Mbappe is doing. That's because they signed the player that was adjusting to a role that he hasn't really played in his career. He was predominantly played as a wide forward, more so from the left hand side. So he was brought in to be a striker. So that's a different conversation, I would say, because he was transitioning into a new position, and it's taking him time to get accustomed to it. And of course, they're getting the roots of their rules. But last season, they were still playing better football in comparison to this season, in my opinion. So I feel like with Liverpool right now, it's not because we're in transition. Yes, we made a lot of changes. We signed a lot of players, but those players replaced players that have left the club. So we just haven't overloaded the squad. Maybe we've done too much too soon, but at the same time, they probably thought changes needed to be made this summer. And there were, of course, some situations that was out of our control, and there were also situations where players have left on a free transfer, so we had to replace them. So I think the profile players that we signed are, for me, still good signings. I'm going to stand by that because I, for one, was very excited with the players that we brought in, but I'm not impressed in terms of the way the players have been coached this season. It's like we've taken a complete backward step. We've applied very cautious, very defensive tactics, and that doesn't suit us as a team. So that's something I feel like needs to be addressed going forward. And quite frankly, I don't know what your stance is in terms of the manager, but I've been stood out for quite some time now, and I stand by. I don't feel like he has the pedigree to take us forward as a club, and I feel like we are going through a downward spiral if this coach remains past this season, if I'm being honest with you. Release this evening, Ozzie and chat, Liverpool FC need R9, Messi, CR7, Aymar, Riquelme and Coutinho. Why not? Let's bring all the elite players from the past. Why not? But that is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you to Ozan. Appreciate your continuous engagement as always. And thank you for the super chat earlier on as well. Thank you to Abdul. Shout out to Bo. Shout out to Delulu Steve. Shout out to Daz. Shout out to Luca. Appreciate you getting involved and sending your comments. If you're new to the channel, shout out to Graham as well. Apologies. Shout out to Graham as well. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Now, in terms of upcoming shows, I will be doing a show later this evening at 11 p.m. UK time. I haven't decided what time I'm going to go live. So the best thing to do is hit that notification bell so you know exactly what time the live stream will begin. And with my match reaction shows, I will present a link in the live chat for anyone to come on and have their say. So it's an open platform for the fans to call in and have their say. So if you like to get something off your chest, feel free to do so. It should be an interesting show nonetheless. But that is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Take care, stay safe, and hope to see you all later this evening. Goodbye.